Mrs. Ryan, it's with the most profound sense of joy that I write to inform you your son, Private James Ryan, is well and at this very moment on his way home from European battlefields. Reports from the front indicate James did his duty in combat with great courage and steadfast dedication, even after he was informed of the tragic loss your family has suffered in this great campaign to rid the world of tyranny and oppression. I take great pleasure in joining the Secretary of War, the men and women of the United States Army, and the citizens of a grateful nation, in wishing you good health and many years of happiness with James at your side. Nothing, not even the safe return of a beloved son, can compensate you or the thousands of other American families who have suffered great loss in this tragic war. But I might share with you some words which have sustained me through long, dark nights of peril, loss, and heartache. And I quote, "I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage the anguish of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and lost, and the solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. Abraham Lincoln." Yours very sincerely and respectfully, George C. Marshall, General, Chief of Staff.
Happy Veterans Day, everybody. By the time you're hearing this, the day has probably passed, but we are here recording this on November 11th in honor of those who serve and have served in our nation's military. And who knows, this might be a new tradition on the show where every year we honor our veterans by watching a Vin Diesel movie. Probably not, but people, my name is Mikey, and I'm here today to talk about the 1998 Steven Spielberg epic Saving Private Ryan. In one hand, I hold a microphone, but in the other hand, I'm holding a beverage that is about as American as, well, it's about as American as the only thing I had available in my fridge at the time, a tall, cold bottle of Samuel Adams beer. Samuel Adams, tastes like beer. But as usual, I'm not here talking and drinking alone. That would be sad. But I have to say that this podcast better be worth it. It better go on to win some major award or something, because the truth is, I wouldn't trade 10 plays of this podcast for one Morris or Corsetto. Maybe 100, but not 10. You know, someday we might look back on this and decide that talking about Saving Private Ryan was one of the decent things we were able to pull off out of this whole god-awful shitty mess. So please welcome my co-host and two guys that I would march into battle with, mainly because they're both braver and faster than me and I can hide behind them. Mr. David Corsetto and Mr. Christopher Morris. Gentlemen, how are you tonight and what are you bastards drinking? David, you first.
Well, I'm actually drinking coffee because I have to go pick my son up later on, so I'm being responsible, but I'm also paying a little bit of respect to Mr. Captain Miller, who really desperately wanted a cup of coffee throughout the entire movie and couldn't get one. So this is for you, Captain Miller.
Very good. And Christopher, how are you? And
doing well, Michael.
What do you got?
Doing well.
What are you drinking?
I'll even accept that. Anything that pays homage to Captain Miller, I'll accept. I'm drinking some Four Roses bourbon, like our forefathers did, like these men would have drank it neat and in a big glass.
Very neat. Neat indeed. So Saving Private Ryan from 1998, written by Robert Rodat, I'm not exactly sure, directed by the legend Steven Spielberg, and starring Tom Hanks, Tom Sizemore, Edward Burns, Barry Pippa, Adam Goldberg, Vin Diesel, Giovanni Ribisi, and Matt Damon, with a bunch of character actors and great names and faces that you see pop up through the whole thing. It was nominated for 11 Oscars and won 5, including Best Director, Cinematography, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and Best Effects. It was also nominated for Tom Hanks for Best Actor. Does anyone know or remember who he lost to? It was
Somebody he shouldn't have.
Yes,
Don't even get me started on the Oscars with this in this year.
Oh,
One
yes.
of the biggest
This is a
travesties of all time.
big year for costumes.
Shakespeare in Love.
Shakespeare in Love, and he lost to Roberto Benigni for Life is Beautiful.
Oh my God, what a fucking absolute.
Roberto Benigni, who went on to star in The Son of
Atrocity.
Pink
What an
Panther.
atrocity that is.
Then pretty much everything else. Best Music, John Williams lost to Life is Beautiful, and Best Makeup lost to Elizabeth. I think that was another period piece. But everything else, Best Picture, Best Set Direction, Screenplay, Shakespeare in Love. That thing.
Best Picture.
Best.
People still talking about Shakespeare in Love. All right, we won't even get sidetracked, but what an incredible film. Iron
Absolutely.
Giant we're talking about, right?
Oh, someday I wish.
Vin Diesel, Iron Giant.
Oh, it's his best
No.
work. It scored a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 91 on Metacritic, and it is an AFI's top 100 best American films at number 71.
Just a
Gentlemen,
masterpiece.
I posed this question to you yesterday, or I made a comment, I guess, where I said, I think this is Steven Spielberg's greatest achievement. Not saying it's
That's debatable.
not saying it's his
debatable.
best movie or it's definitely not my favorite of his movies, but as far as his achievement, what they created, I think it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
I
right.
agree with that. Yes,
Debatable, but you had Schindler's List, which was an incredible
Right.
achievement.
I was
too.
gonna say Schindler's List is the only one that rivals this movie.
Okay.
but-
I
But-
don't even want to mention that I've never seen that.
What?
It's hilarious, Mike.
I know. I know.
So yeah, you really can't say, but
I guess I can't
this-
say, but
this movie is incredible. Just the way it was crafted, how he did it in chronological order. Just
see, I did not
the
realize
realism.
that. Yeah.
The realism. It's we'll get into everything, but I remember seeing this in the movies and just being blown away.
Yes. This one I did see in the theater.
Sound,
And I remember the movie ending in the theater just being quiet. Like nobody like stirred or got up. It just was really quiet for like good 30 seconds.
Well, I mean,
Well-
the ending was jarring.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
and then it ends in such a sad, almost horrific way, right?
David and I
Yeah.
are gonna be getting choked up a lot in this pod.
Guys, I've watched this movie probably 8 times in 3 days, 4 days. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
And
tough.
I said
It's
I
tough.
started
Some of
watching
it
that
too.
last medic scene and I got numb. There was no numbness. I was still tearing up when I watched 8 times in a row.
Of course, but it's amazing. You hear the veterans who were at Normandy and stormed the beach and were on Omaha Beach, saying how it was like getting PTSD. Just
Yeah.
it was like being there. The way they had the handheld cameras. It was just so well done. As far
I
as
remember
how
them like thanking Spielberg for showing what they
Yeah.
went through. Like,
Well,
even with,
it was a
well,
It was a
even with,
tribute
like,
to his dad. That's why he made the movie. His father was a veteran who fought in World War II. And so he always wanted to do that. And just, I mean, I had never seen a movie like that so they were using, people with prosthetics, amputees with prosthetics getting blown up on the beach, and the effects of that, and the way they had the camera, just the point of view, the handhelds just shaking and then not knowing what's going on at times.
like it's news
it
footage.
really
or
tried to-
almost,
Yeah, and it was just, and then the violence, and it was incredible.
And when I was looking at the Oscars, it was nominated for Best Picture. At the same time, there was another World War II movie nominated for Best Picture that year that I never
Red
think
Line.
about. Thin Red Line. I've never seen it. I never think about it. I never.
yeah, I've never seen it either.
I've seen it. It was, was not really a war movie, I was, but it was, it was Terrence Malick, and
A
he
little more
does these.
artsy fartsy.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of stars were in that too,
Yeah.
actually. But so we always talk about Gump, how much David loves Forrest Gump, and I shit on it, but it's good. It's good. But
Okay, why are you even comparing these two movies? I have no idea what the comparisons for.
Yeah, why don't you go with Joe
Just to
versus the
shit on me
volcano?
for this, or just to?
Tom Hanks was in Forrest Gump.
I get it, but
I was about to tell a story about so I used to be like anti-Hanks after he won the Oscars. My brothers would laugh because I wasn't a big fan. I was like, hey, kind of overrated. Didn't love Forrest Gump performance.
Didn't love Philadelphia. Didn't like Philadelphia.
It was good, but I mean, do you love that movie now? He did a great job. It was a great performance. But then, so this is my favorite Tom Hanks performance, my favorite character. That's just why I was saying the Forrest Gump thing. So yeah, this is Forrest Gump's not in my top 3, by the way. It's Big, Castaway, and
Splash.
Captain Miller. Splash was great. Captain Miller is my favorite Hanks role. So
Even that last movie he put out with the when he was one of the captains for the
Greyhound.
Greyhound. That was a good movie too, actually.
I didn't end up seeing it.
It was really good.
Yeah, I heard it was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
So a buddy of mine pointed out, like he's one of our listeners, Jimmy, my buddy Jimmy. Hey Jimmy.
Hi Jimmy.
He pointed this out as this is one of his movies that other people love that he doesn't love. I was almost crossed. I know. What? But he actually had some good points. He just said some of the characters were a little cliche. The guy from Brooklyn.
Okay, but why is that so cliche? We don't know how they talked in the 40s. We don't know how they acted in the 40s.
And then the sharpshooter. Listen.
What?
We can criticize some things or nitpick some things without bashing the movie. I'm just saying.
I love that character in this movie.
A sharpshooter from. I'm not a huge Ed Burns fan. I kind of wish they used someone else. But the character is great. And then
the character is great. I'm not talking about the actor.
The sharpshooter from the South. You know what I mean? It's a little cliche.
Barry
but
Pepper.
The movie is just so good.
If that's what you're gonna nitpick in this movie, then whatever. I don't fucking care. That's those two
Right,
characters.
like that's where you have the fact that that's where you have to go to criticize it shows how good it is.
Yeah, or I was reading some ridiculous article talking about how he was saying how unrealistic Captain Miller's strategy was, which is outrageous. It is a movie. It's to entertain. That It's to show you. So the 3 things I think the movie does so well is it shows you the horrors of war, right?
Mm-hmm.
So awful with the death scene.
Yep.
How violent it is.
It doesn't make it look like any thought of those old war movies with the glamour.
They're not sensationalizing it. They're not making it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real. It's so realistic.
It is. And then I love how it shows, and Captain, Miller says this when he's talking to Mike, when he's talking about sacrificing certain men, just the decisions like the officers have to make, basically sacrificing their men, and that one scene, which we'll get to with the machine gun nest, which happens after he says that is just so rough.
Well, even the opening scene, which I mean, is pretty much, I'm going to say it's pretty much, I mean, it's what the movie's most famous for, I think, is that opening 20 minutes.
Yes.
I think if you got to go to, when you go to the opening scene, I think the true opening scene is when you see, right, you don't even know who it is. Right. Is it Private Ryan or is it Captain Miller in that opening scene? Right. Right. Because that's where
it does open. It starts.
But you don't know who's grave.
You don't know who that is. Right.
Exactly.
But you're seeing someone going back and revisiting the horrors of that war, and that happens a lot. Especially with that generation's dying up now. I don't know how many people are left actually. When you go back and you visit that site, it's got to be just the mindset.
Imagine being on that beach right now and just
No, I mean, honestly, if you want to just real quick, I mean, if you think about Omaha Beach was the most violent and the most casualties of all the beaches that were stormed too.
Yeah.
So they captured
that was the
most
one
brutal
beach that
war.
was right.
Yeah, the most brutal
Right.
battle of that war was
Lord and Juno and the other ones, right?
Yeah.
The
didn't
way
have-
they're running in, the way they're just kind of, it almost looked like these guys was like, no, they're almost being sacrificed. The front
Well,
guys.
yeah.
I mean, that's
Right.
which
especially
is a
guys-
lot of war, but it's right. It's like right into the
hopefully a
those
few guys
cannons.
can get through. Is what-
Well, it goes from that opening scene
M42s,
to Captain Miller's eyes, and then that's when they're on the boats, and you're like, wow, this is it.
right?
And you have no idea what's coming up next.
Before we get into the movie, the other thing I was going to say, it obviously shows how it shows the bond. You know what I mean? That these guys have
Yep.
with each other,
Yep.
just this fighting together and having each other's back and everything. And it's just, it's going to be indescribable. And these, like my buddies Mike and Brian was saying, it's just lucky. We're lucky that it really is the greatest generation. And they said we're lucky to have.
Yeah, and Tom Hanks paid a lot of homage to all the veterans of World War II. He did a lot for them after this movie.
So yeah,
He created monuments. He friggin' went back and revisited different stories with Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
The Pacific.
Brothers came after that.
Yeah, and
So-
the Pacific too, which was really a great depiction of the Japanese battlefront. But
So you know how they did, so they had to do like a boot camp, right? All the actors,
yeah,
except Matt Damon, who they wanted the actors to,
to resent him.
to resent him. Yes.
That's excellent.
So he
Love
was
it.
the only one who didn't go to the boot camp. And then I guess the actors were like almost voting to finish, to get out of it, to end it early. And Tom Hanks was like, no, I'm voting, we're staying here and doing it. So I guess they all like kind of followed his lead. So it was funny because it was kind of like the movie when
Right.
respect for him, because he was a big star, obviously.
Right. All those guys, I mean, some of them you'd recognize, some of them go on to become big stars. But at the
Yep.
time, they're just a bunch of young nobodies. Even
Yeah.
Tom
Sizemore.
Sizemore, like he's
Yeah.
a known actor, but not like that known.
Well,
Right.
even Bryan Cranston, who went on to be one of the biggest
Yeah.
actors of that book. He wasn't young, but that was one
Right.
of his first movies.
It's funny, you see, there was so much, Ted Danson, and the casting was great. I love also how it teaches you, it talks about the big picture too, when he's talking with Danson, talking about Montgomery, and he's like, that guy's overrated, and they're just talking
Yeah.
about Rommel, and you learn about the weapons. Even it does like a little history, history in it while you go through the great story. So great music, great sound. It's just
Great music and great lack of music when the battle.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no like heroic music playing during battles.
right. It's so good how they do the sound, and then the lack of sound in some scenes. So
And Dennis Farina.
yes, the great Dennis
I was like,
Farina.
whoa.
So
I remember
did we lose Dave?
Nope, I'm here.
Okay, I just didn't see you. So, right, like Dave said, great score right out of the gates. You show the flag, and you see Old Man Ryan, who you don't know is Ryan, shuffling with his family. Dave was checking out his granddaughters inappropriately.
Can't
So-
help himself.
Yeah, and you see, what did they say? This is the movie that shows them in action, but kind of shows our relationship symbolized by his family. What? Oh, I'm not sure.
Are you don't understand your own notes?
No, I don't. I looked them over. We can cut that. We can cut that at
Oh,
what's the time of that edit, Mike?
oh shit! I should have had a time.
So
Hmm.
this is when he's going towards the grave and he falls, right? And then you see the rows of the crosses. You just hits you how many
Right.
people were.
Mhm.
Just endless.
I've never been to Arlington, so I don't know, how they have it set up, but it just, it's like hits you how many men and women.
Would that be
So-
Arlington? Or would that be in Normandy? No, we're in Normandy.
He wasn't. He was at Arlington National Cemetery, right?
No, Normandy.
Where all the crosses were?
Yeah, they're not going to be bringing back all those dead bodies from Normandy to the United
Oh, it
States.
shows the French flag.
Yes,
I showed the American and the French flag. I didn't realize.
yes, it's in Normandy, dopies. Sorry, guys. keep
Dope.
going.
Wow. Cool.
What do they have in Normandy? Like
What?
it's just a big cemetery for the.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
That's what he said. He said he didn't. He said it at the end. He didn't know how he felt coming back here. Remember?
Nope.
Uh,
Right. Yeah.
Good
He paid
point.
That's what happens when you watch
wow,
it
he
8
paid-
times in 3 days,
He
guys.
paid, he paid for the whole family. It's pretty.
That explains.
Yeah.
That explains the French flag.
Yep. Here you go.
Okay, maybe how many times have I seen this movie? I don't know.
All right, Dave, take us away. Lead us on.
You good with
Me.
notes?
He falls in front of the grave, then he looks up, they show his eyes, and then you hear the waves and you see the
And then he has a flashback to where he wasn't even part of.
right. He was in the 101st who landed it the night before, but
Well, his brother was there.
his brother was there. So you see the hedgehogs. Is that what those are? The Czech hedgehogs. June 6, 1944. Dog Green 1 sector, Omaha Beach. You see the shaking hand right away. See Captain
Yep.
Miller shaking hand. They show Mike Horvath, Sergeant Horvath. Guy's awesome.
Just
And you
just
see the-
throwing chew in his mouth as everyone else
Throwing
around him
dip
is
in.
throwing up.
Throwing
They're
a
all
dip in.
throwing up and he's just
That's
chewing
true, yeah.
away.
Throwing a dip in. So they're both giving out orders. See you at the beach. You see the guys throwing up right next to him. Then immediately, like Mike said, come right. They lower the. They lower the. What's the end of
The
it?
gate there.
Yeah, the game. But I love looking at the faces of the soldiers in the boat as you
They-
can see the tension in their
Oh, yeah.
face, just
But
knowing
it's
what's
good how you
coming
see,
next.
right? How you see one guy's like hyperventilating, and
Yep.
one guy looks like he's 42. Just
He's
how they
clenching
grow.
his teeth. He's just his jaw is completely clenched in. He's like, "Oh my god, we're gonna fucking die here. This is it."
One guy looks like he's 20. He's, I mean, he's probably 20. He looks like he's 42, and
Been through a lot of battles.
And then
Yes.
they're like, all right, let's do this. And 2 seconds in, boom, boom, boom. So many dead.
carnage immediately with the MG 42 guns, right?
Yeah.
Then Miller's like over the side, so
Guys
bloody right away.
Guys are drowning from their equipment.
So many people drowned because the tide was wrong. They landed completely wrong.
Cool.
I think it was hours before they're supposed to, whatever.
So it was
So-
really a lot worse because they screwed up.
Well, no, it was planned for months, but they decided that they had to continue to pursue the battle. They weren't gonna push back.
Well, they delayed it a day.
Yeah, they delayed it a day, but they didn't want to delay it anymore, so that's why they had to continue. They were just continuing, and I think they are there in the wrong tides too, right?
I think so.
I'm not
I think
mistaken.
so, but they just didn't realize how deep they were. I mean, but yes, he's throwing. They're going over the side. I like how they showed the camera coming in and out of the water, and
Oh.
seeing the guys get shot underwater. It's like they got no chance. And then the guy who gets, gets.
But it was like a quick punch to the faces. That first opening scene was, I think, set the entire movie because
Mhm.
it was just the way they shot that scene. You felt like you were there.
Yeah, that's how. Right, that's what Spielberg was going for.
Right. It
Just-
wasn't a lot. It was a lot of camera at their level. Nothing, right? Not the huge sweeping
Right.
shots or.
Mm-hmm. You see the guy.
looking up at the pillboxes.
Yep. You see the guys engulfed in flames, and
Okay, I have a war question. So there's all those things in the
World War
in the-
II.
World War II question. No, that one I knew.
Oh.
All those things in the beach that they're hiding behind. They're already
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Did they drop? Did someone for the
they
United,
put those. They
the
put
Allies
those.
drop
Tanks
those in?
couldn't just drop. No,
Oh,
no,
no,
the
okay.
Axis did.
So they're not
Enemies put
there.
them-
Okay.
Now, the enemies put them there because they didn't want boats. They wanted boats to hit
Yeah.
them too. Because when it was high tide.
Okay, so it's
Right.
there. It's lucky that it's there for them to hide behind. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
At low tide. Right. Then they make it to the beach. You see just explosions. You see the guy finding his arm. The explosion with where Miller puts on his helmet. Gets blown off. He puts it on. He has the blood, and the explosion. I love when how they do like no sound suddenly,
It's almost like it blew out his ear.
ringing in his ear. Yeah.
and then they bring it up, and he's like, he's just trying to shake it out, and then they bring up the sound, and the guy's like, you see the guy, his mouth moving, and he's like, I said, what the hell do we do now, sir? And he's like, whatever the hell you can do to make it off the beach. He's just like, clear this beach. Then you see the view from the guns, just wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
The guy with his guts crying out,
That was the first
Ryan,
sight
mama.
of that battle. Yeah, that's the first real brutal wound you see in the movie. And
Yeah,
the guy
and he-
walking around in shock, carrying his own hand.
Looking for his
His own
arm.
arm.
and like, yeah.
That's my kids were asking like, what? And I'm like, he's in shock. It's like
Yeah.
looking around.
Yeah.
So, and then you see he's arguing with the guy who is this when he argues with the guy who's trying to clear the beach. He's trying to, it was just hectic, right? They
Right.
all get separated. He's just trying to save as many people as he can. Grabs that guy, the explosion. It's like horrific, dragging half a guy,
Yeah.
half a body. Yeah. And then you see, the little pillbox. He's telling they make it up to the edge of the beach. He keeps telling the radio man, he's telling him dog 1 is not open, just like it's not clear. And he keeps pulling the guy over, and then finally you see the
Third time.
explosion. He looks like he really does look like a real body, you would think. And he tries to use the video. It's how he's like, "Who's in command here? You are, sir." So they make it up. You see Vin Diesel, sorry, Capazio, some of the other men. Capazzo, yes. You see Wade. Wade is down there helping people. One of the best characters, Medic Wade. And he's trying to save the guy. The guy gets shot after he stopped the bleeding. Gets shot. And he's like, "This is all that made it up. It's not enough. It's not enough." And then you see the guy who takes his helmet off, right?
Yes.
The
He
bullet
gets
goes through his
shot.
helmet.
Helmet
Right?
takes it off and gets shot in the face. Shot in the
Yeah.
head.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Then so he's like, gather weapons. This is where they need more weapons. This is when you meet Reiben, who they asked where his BAR is. He's like, the bitch tried to drown me.
Is that big ass rifle?
Yeah.
It's Browning automatic.
Oh,
Yeah.
And yeah, he's like, it's the bottom of the channel, sir. It's like, so then they get weapons. The poor guy who's like got no legs. They're grabbing the
yeah. Like
Bandit.
he's trying to, like they had to help him. They're just like
Yeah.
pillaging him.
Yep. Then he calls for the Bangalores. Bangalores? Is that what it's
Yeah, and
called?
I didn't even knew what those were until this movie.
The tube with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Yeah, they push the tube over, and I don't know exactly how that works with the explosives. And they fire in the hole, blow it up. And
Mike says we're in business.
Mike says we're in business. Right? The
Multiple
guy.
time. Yep. Debatably
This
the
is-
best character in the movie besides Captain Miller, by far.
He's up there. There's different. It's definitely not
Upham?
not Private Ryan, but no,
He is no pussy, this guy. This guy is fucking badass to the core.
no, none of them are. But right, Mike. Well, actually, you shouldn't get there. Upham. We haven't met Upham.
Yeah.
But we meet Mellish. He gets the gum from Mellish. Mellish must chew a lot of gum. Looks at the
Yeah.
mirror. Yeah, and you see we meet Jackson, who kisses his crucifix. I like how they show you see the priest reading the guy last rites.
Yeah, like
Just looked like a priest from you would see in the World War II.
And this is where you gotta think like the veterans that are watching this movie must be like this was the most realistic depiction I've ever seen of any battle. I mean, because it was horrific. Even watching it was horrific.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and they finally make it up there. He Jackson sniped some guys. They were able to make it around the flank. They get the flamethrower up there. He's like, let him burn.
Yeah, they go to shoot him. Let him burn.
Yeah. Oh, so this is when they surround the pillboxes and they're shooting, getting rid of the last guys. That guy pretends to hear the Germans, although those might be Czechs, who are surrendering.
Yeah.
He's like, "What's that? I can't hear you." Yeah. He shoots him and he's like, "What did he say? I washed for supper."
Yeah.
Guys are laughing. Yeah.
You see, was that Tom Hanks looks at him like,
They
No, it's
they
not.
just show Hanks's
yeah,
face. Well, first, this is kind of great. You see Mellish breaks down after Capazzo gives him the Hitler Youth knife, and
Which is a setup for a future scene, which
Yeah.
drives you fucking nuts.
the knife. Yeah.
Ugh,
So,
God.
but it's just, you see him get shaken up and he just starts to break down, and you think, like, look what he just went through. You can't imagine.
Yeah.
What those guys had to go through. And then you see the other guys laughing, and then they show Miller's face. It's just like, he's not mad. He's just like all business. He's like,
You just think like you think this way though. It's something like when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, all right, so I know there are sides. There's bad side. There's a bad side, obviously, with the Nazis. I get, but a lot of those people that were fighting in the Nazi party were not fighting because they wanted to. They were fighting because they had to.
yeah, some of
And
them
you're
were.
thinking like, as these guys got the flame to them, right? And they're all falling out of that pillbox. And the humane thing to do is kill them, obviously, shoot them. And they just said, "Don't let them burn."
Well,
And that's
I mean,
just-
right. But I mean, they just saw,
Yeah,
the best
of course.
friend slaughtered,
Yep.
and so many, and thousands of other.
So my point is, all normalcy is out the window when you're in that situation.
Well, this craziness, as you see with the guy Upham,
Yeah.
Upham helps. But you see, right, then you see the music finally, and then you see the camera showing the carnage, and you see pans in on Ryan.
Yep.
And then they cut to the, showing the telegrams.
telegrams.
Yeah.
Yes, telegram.
Telegram. And yeah, not telegram. So, and then they show the voiceover of like the letters they send I was explaining that to my kids, all the men that died, their families just, getting these telegrams.
Dear Mr. Brian Boyd, no doubt by now you have received full information
Mrs.
about the untimely death of your son.
No words of mine can ever relieve the
Our outfit has felt his loss tremendously.
He was a fine soldier, and he believed very strongly in what
It's no secret anymore that we were involved in one of the most important operations of this war.
Hal was the one who held us all together. He was always the first to volunteer.
Came to a clearing near a road where over 4,000 troops attacked.
your husband served with a combat unit whose dangerous duty is to place itself
In which we all cherish and hold so dear. The loss of Lee and others like him is a distinct blow to the
I fully
regiment.
understand your desire to learn as much as possible regarding the circumstances leading to his death.
So the lady notices, you see her, you must notice the brothers, and what are the odds of her seeing and noticing the,
Recognizing the names,
Ryan.
yeah.
so it was real, it was loosely based on this, on these brothers. I forget.
Sullivan
No, it
Brothers.
wasn't the Sullivan brothers. It wasn't really based on the Sullivan brothers. It was a different, I forget the name of them, but it was loosely based on them.
Let's call them the Cosetto brothers.
The Malachi brothers.
Malachi
Well-
brothers. That's fine.
The Cassettos were the Turks. Actually, the Turks were fighting for the Axis, for the bad guys in World War One, and then the Italians, which you claim to be, were fighting for the. We don't need to go there. So she goes to her boss. They go to Cranston. They go to the captain. Oh, Cranston's a colonel, I guess. I don't know.
Colonel, I've got something you should know about.
Yes.
These two men died in Normandy. This one in Omaha Beach.
Sean Ryan,
This man at Utah.
Peter Ryan.
This man was killed last week in New Guinea.
Daniel, Ryan.
The three men are brothers, sir. I've just learned that this afternoon their mother's going to be getting all 3 telegrams. That's not all. There's a 4th brother, the youngest. He parachuted in with the 101st Airborne night before the invasion. He's somewhere in Normandy. We don't know where.
Is he alive?
We don't know.
Come with me.
They're reading that, you know, they're like, this mother's going to be getting all 3 telegrams today.
Yeah.
Is he alive? So it shows the farm. This part was tough to watch, seeing the mother.
I loved the shot because you see her, but like the way the window was like designed,
It was like
it was just a
great
strip,
color. It was like,
but like just enough that you could
maybe-
see the street where the car is coming through.
yeah. And just like the alarm, she must feel like it just, you know, you think about these people on edge, just a telegram's coming, and then she sees it's an army vehicle. And it's a great shot of, you see, I hadn't noticed it, the brothers on one half
yep.
of the screen frame the picture.
In the photo, yeah.
And then she can't, you know, she's trying to be proper and, you know, receive them, you know, not knowing exactly what, and then she sees the priest, and it's just like heartbreaking. She falls
almost
to
passes out, or she does pass. She just fall down. But here's the thing: she's probably thinking to herself, "Oh my goodness, one of my sons is dead."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was rough. And then, so the next, they cut to George Marshall going over the, you know, them telling him about the Ryans, and Dale Dye, the guy he was in platoon. He's the military advisor who's, you know, we can't send them on a wild goose chase.
Damn it.
All 4 of them were in the same company in the 29th Division, but we split them up after the Sullivan brothers died on the Juno.
Any contact with the 4th son, James?
No, sir. He was dropped about 15 miles inland near Neuville, but that's still deep behind German
Now,
lines.
Mac, there is no way you can know where in the hell he was dropped. General, first reports out of Ike's people at Schaefer said the 101st is scattered all to hell and gone. There's misdrops all over Normandy. Now, assuming Private Ryan even survived the jump, he could be anywhere. In fact, he's probably KIA. And frankly, sir, we go sending some sort of rescue mission, flat-hatting throughout swarms of German reinforcements all along our axis of advance. They're going to be KIA too.
Which, okay, this is the great debate now, right? Because this is really the premise of the movie. Was it the right thing to do? Send a bunch of men to go find that one guy, basically sacrificing those guys like sheep for slaughter.
There must be some sort of like,
No.
yeah,
What are
right.
your thoughts?
But there must be some sort of like, I can't even think of the ethical thing that of losing everyone in the family. I don't know if there's some sort of protocol for it.
Well, it becomes the right thing because, you know, the mission also becomes, the end is great. We'll get to exactly what the conversation between Mike and Captain Miller, but it's like, it all makes sense. We hold this bridge. We're actually helping to win this war, it all because of this mission. Just, you know, as a result.
I have a letter here, written a long time ago to a Mrs. Bixby in Boston. Just bear with me. Dear Madam, I have been shown in the files of the War Department a statement of the Adjutant General of Massachusetts that you are the mother of 5 sons who have died gloriously on the field of battle. I feel how weak and fruitless must be any words of mine that would attempt to beguile you from the grief of a loss so overwhelming. But I cannot refrain from tendering to you the consolation that may be found in the thanks of the Republic they died to save. I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage the anguish of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and lost. The solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. Yours very sincerely and respectfully, Abraham Lincoln.
So he reads a letter from Lincoln. That was great. Mother who lost 5 sons from Massachusetts. And I like how he starts reading it and he puts it down. He has it memorized.
The boy's alive. We are going to send somebody to find him. And we are going to get him the hell out of there.
And he's like, if that boy's alive, we're going to send someone to find him and get him the hell out of there. So then you see Captain Miller looking at the coffee, Dave, like you said, some close-ups. But yeah, you see him and Dennis Farina talking about the big picture and just the strategy of everything. And then he's like, it's a big mission. And then he's like, I got another one for you, John. This one's straight from the top. So then he's telling Mike about the mission. Public relations mission.
Public relations mission, yeah.
Well, the thing with this scene though, they basically imply that Captain Miller is one of the best, the go-to guys.
Yes.
You know,
Oh yeah.
Been the
The
tough
fact that
mission
they chose
before.
him.
You know, they chose him to do this. Yeah.
You see that in action too, obviously.
Well, I even love the details about how they were talking about all the obstacles on the beach, like the landmines, the different things they had to go through just to get to that, to the topic. It was really detailed.
Well, that's what I was saying, right, about the war strategy about, dog one, and you have to flank them, and this isn't where he knows where everybody's supposed to be. He knows the bigger picture. You got to take the beaches so they can land 100,000 guys. So tells Mike about the mission, tells him, you're going to get the pick of the litter, tells him who he's going to get. So Mellish wasn't even going to be chosen. He's picked some other guy. He's like, he's dead. He's like, all right, then Mellish. And then he's like, we got to dig up another interpreter. So I kind of like this. We finds Upham. I've come to like Upham.
This is a fun scene.
His character, obviously, there's issues with things that happen. But
when you
he's
see
a likable guy.
But when you see him in the beginning, right? What did you think when you saw him? First scene with him in it.
He's helpless. Yeah, what do you mean?
Helpless, clean cut, like looks like a baby face, right? Never seen a battle in his life. The guy's, just innocent. And then he's like, "What do I do?" Like he's bringing a fucking typewriter with him to battle.
Bringing his typewriter, and then you see Captain Miller holding the pencil.
Hey, there was a guy on the beach with a typewriter. So
there was as you showed us. But yes, Upham was, he tries to teach you need that, but it was great seeing him like.
Yeah, he goes, the good news is you don't need this. He throws it all down.
Yeah. So yeah, cool. This is when you see a shot. It's kind of, I think it's on the poster. You see them walking up over the hill. They're in the French countryside. Mellish doesn't like him right away.
Well, he tells him to get his rat hands away from him. I'm like, what?
Yeah. He ends up liking him. Well, not the very end, but he does end up liking him. He's worried. He's worried for.
I think they all kind of end up liking him because they all kind of have his back.
Yeah, Carpazzo's saying, "Don't salute the captain. You make him a target."
Yeah, right. I like that.
Ask the captain where he's from. Does he say that or Ryben?
Carpazzo does.
Carpazzo does. Again, Vin Diesel's only good role, besides Iron Giant. I'm sorry. So Ryben, again, like I said, Ed Burns, not the best actor in the world. I do like a good character.
I like Ed Burns, but he's always Ed Burns.
Right. But you needed a character like this.
Yeah, I think he was great in this movie. To be honest with you, I thought it was a great character.
It was a great character, right? I don't think it was great actor. So he's aggravated, and
well, he's aggravated right from the start. He doesn't want to be there from the beginning.
Yes,
of course.
He thinks it's a FUBAR. Right. See, right? He says we all have orders, even if it's FUBAR. Yeah, and then I like they're all going back and forth, and Jackson's like, saying, I could end the war. Give me one shot.
But Wade was the only one that actually kind of took that. Wade was the only one that actually took the Upham under his belt in the beginning. That was, he
was
showed
a
the kind of.
saint. That's why he's, that's in his nature.
Was. Yeah.
That's in his job. By the way, I think that Ribisi's acting performance was
Incredible.
maybe second best to Tom Hanks. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Might get choked up describing that scene, but so he's like, I don't gripe to you. He does that whole thing, I don't gripe to you.
That was a great little thing.
I always gripe up.
Oh. You want to explain the math of this to me? I mean, where's the sense of risking the lives of the 8 of us to save one guy?
20 degrees. Anybody want to answer that?
Ryman, think about the poor bastard's mother.
Hey, Doc, I got a mother, all right? I mean, you got a mother. Sarge has got a mother. I mean, shit, I bet even the captain's got a mother. Well, maybe not the captain, but the rest of us got mothers.
There's not a reason why, there's but to do and die. What the fuck is that supposed to mean, Corporal, huh? We're all supposed to die, is that it?
Upham's talking about our duty as soldiers.
Yes, sir.
We all have orders and we have to follow them. That supersedes everything, including your mothers.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Even if you think the mission's FUBAR, sir?
Especially if you think the mission's FUBAR.
What's FUBAR? Oh, it's German. Yeah. Never heard of that. Sir, I have an opinion on this matter.
Well, by all means, share it with the squad.
Over my way of thinking, sir, this entire mission is a serious misallocation of valuable military resources.
Go on.
Well, it seems to me, sir, that God gave me a special gift, made me a fine instrument of warfare.
Ryman, pay attention now. This is the way to gripe. Continue, Jackson.
Well, what I mean by that, sir, is you used to put me and this here sniper rifle anywhere up to and including 1 mile of Adolf Hitler with a clear line of sight, sir. Pack your bags, fellas. War's over. Amen.
Oh, that's brilliant, Bumpkin. Hey, so, Captain, what about you? I mean, you don't gripe at all?
I don't gripe to you, Ryman. I'm a captain. There's a chain of command. Gripes go up, not down. Always up. You gripe to me, I gripe to my superior officer, so on, so on, so on. I don't gripe to you. I don't gripe in front of you. You should know that as a ranger.
But then I love when he goes into what he would say if he was
Sorry, sir, but let's say you weren't a captain, or maybe I was a major. What would you say then?
Well, in that case, I say this is an excellent mission, sir, with an extremely valuable objective, sir. Worthy of my best efforts, sir. Moreover, I feel heartfelt sorrow for the mother of Private James Ryan. I'm willing to lay down my life and the lives of my men, especially you, Ryman, to ease her suffering.
He's good.
I love him.
They were like, he's good. And Capazzo's like, I love him. I'm like, I love him too, Capazzo. It's great. It's great. I have written down Vin D's best role, obviously. So next scene, it starts pouring rain. They're in the French town. They see Giamatti, who thinks it's somebody else who's come. He's great in this, right? They tell him they're looking for Ryan, and they're playing the German propaganda. Like, who's that? Say something about the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Capazzo's not nervous. He's eating apples and.
That was the one thing I was watching today. Go, why is he fucking eating apples?
These little crap. He's looking for one.
This one tastes like shit. Let me have the next one. Like that. I mean, he went through a series of apples.
He did,
Not just one.
Or they're shooting runners. Okay. I have Giamatti's great. So, talking about what, I guess Upham's talking about wondering where he's from, talking about where Miller's from, what he did. And this is, he's talking to the guys. He's trying to get information, And then they come up to the house, the French family. They try to give the girls, the father tries to give the girl, And they're like, we're not taking.
Okay, I'm out of order. I was thinking the whole thing with the wall. With that.
Well, this is another thing. This is like this is
That
when you
happens
know.
after.
Okay, you're right.
But they Capazzo's actually telling Upham that he knows exactly where the captain's from. His attention to detail is on point.
Yes. Yeah.
Like this is the line he gives up to him right before he fucking takes a shot to the fucking chest. But he's on point though. He has the details, right?
Well, and then he's like, Captain, we got to take this girl. We can take her. We'll drop her off. Yeah, it's.
It reminds me of my niece.
Yeah, and then Miller gets so mad at him. You know, I think this is the only time he swears too. He's like, we're not here to do the decent thing. We're here to, you know, what does he say? We're here to follow fucking orders. That's what he says.
Get the kid back up there! Captain, the decent thing to do is to at least take her down the road to the next town. We're not here to do the decent thing. We're here to follow fucking orders.
Like, wow.
Which even you're like, Tom Hanks at the F word.
I know. I think that's the only time. It's like Saint Miller or Saint Hanks. But so he grabs the girl and they have her, and then Carpazzo gets shot and they have to take cover. This is Jackson goes around. The sniper's using Carpazzo as bait. This is brutal, right?
Yeah.
When he's talking to Mellish, he's like, I can walk. And then he's like, I can walk. Just come in. And then like, Mellish is like, stay down, Adrian.
Well, they know if they go out there, they're sitting ducks.
And then it's my dad. He wants him to give him the letter. He knows he's like, it's to my dad.
The
blood on it. Then you see the shot from the sniper.
But I love that whole like give and take with snipers, like both of them.
Yes.
Because he's looking around.
Yeah,
I think he understands there's something else out there. He sees he sees Jackson, and then all he sees is a flash and a fucking shot of the skull.
Yeah.
The last thing he sees is the
right
sniper rifle pointing right at him.
It was great. And then you see Mellish, which is awesome, but also heartbreaking. He's smiling. He's like, we got him. He's like smiling to Carpazzo, not knowing. And the girl slaps the father. It was rough. And he's like, that's why we can't take children.
Yep.
And, Wade puts a blanket over him. And then Ryben's mad. Fuck Ryan.
Yeah.
And then Wade takes the letter. So the letter obviously is very symbolic. You know what I mean? How they just honor each other, and they honor the dead. They honor their fallen brothers, really. So this is the first,
But it's crazy how Wade takes it, right? It's like meaningful.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Well, right. Anybody that takes the letter. The next scene, they're walking through, and the wall.
That's a great scene. That is a great.
It's intense, huh? You see the close up of each of the faces. They have a standoff. They're all yelling at each other. You see Mellish is looking so, and then you see dancing from above.
Effing dancing.
Yep. Takes those guys out.
I remember the first time I saw it, it's like, wait, Ted Danson?
I was gonna say the same thing. Did he actually was he I don't know. Did you buy him being a captain?
Danson?
Well, now I do. In 1998, I was like, Sam Malone?
Come on. It was 10 years. No, not 10 years after.
But I mean, it's like I think he had that other sitcom going on, but he was a TV guy. I mean, he's still pretty much a TV guy, but.
So then he's talking to, I don't remember Danson's
name. Yeah.
Role. Yeah. But he tells him the mission. He calls up James Ryan. I use the word heartbreaking too much. Everything is like heartbreaking in this, but they call up James Ryan. Mikey knows him from some other show.
Nathan Fillion.
But hold on, Ted Danson's character was like, this is an admiral. Like he admired what they were doing. Like,
well, he says that at the he says that right before.
Like,
right.
Yeah,
well, he
Ryan
says that at the end.
Thing to do.
He says that at the end, like after. So they bring up the guy and tell him he's, his brothers. There's no easy way to say this.
So I'll just say it. Your brothers are dead. We have orders to come get you. Because you're going home.
Oh my God, my brothers are dead.
I'm supposed to take a picture when we go home.
I'm so sorry, James. I can't tell you.
How did they die?
They were killed in action.
I can't be. I can't be. My brother's still in grammar school.
You're James Ryan.
Yeah,
James Francis Ryan from Iowa.
James Frederick Ryan, Minnesota. What does that mean my brothers are okay?
Yeah, I'm sure they're fine.
Are you sure that they're okay, though?
We're looking for a different private, Ryan. This is just a big foul-up.
How do you know? How can you be sure? How do you know that the foul-up isn't that his brothers are okay?
Lieutenant, I'm sorry for the trouble.
I just wrote them a letter before I left. I gotta get home.
That's balling. It's like almost a little comic relief, but the poor guy's like,
Are you sure they're
seriously,
okay?
I gotta get home. He's like, you sure? Maybe the mistake was, like I said, it was really tough. Cold, Dave, we got to put this on YouTube. Dave's putting a blanket on like Wade put over Carpazzo. Miller, Danson, Giamatti, they're all trying to find out, where Ryan could be. They get the guy with the injured foot. And this is when they tell him, we have a church, you want to hole up for 3 hours. This is when they're going to rest overnight. And this is when Danson's talking about the big picture. They talk about Monty. He's like, that guy's overrated. And then he tells him, he's like, I'm serious. Find that guy. He's like, he has brothers too. He's like, find him and get him home.
See, that's awesome. That's when it makes me feel like, okay, they're not, there are people out there who thinks this is the right thing to do.
But Captain Miller didn't look like he was buying into it at that point either.
Well, he wasn't. You could tell he gets into the thing. So this is at night in the church when you see the shaking hand, and Mike's like, what's up with your hand? He doesn't know, comes and goes. Then they're talking about their men. What's that kid from Anzio? When they fought the Italians, Dave.
Sure.
The bad guys. They're laughing about it, and then they're like, they realize those guys.
The one who walks on his hands all the time.
Vecchio,
because he would piss on their jackets with the V.
Yes, a V, right? And they're laughing. It's great.
But then he said he wouldn't trade
right.
10 whatever Ryans for one Capazzo or Vecchio.
Right. But first he says, how many men,
Yeah.
He says, I've lost 94 men, but he tells, I've saved, this is how he rationalizes it. I've saved 10 times that amount. He knows you have to send men to get killed. These kids.
Think about it. They sent 156,000 Allied troops to storm Normandy, knowing there's gonna be a lot of carnage.
Yep.
Right. But you have to. That's the sacrifice of war, I guess.
The big picture, right? So, yeah, and then this. So he talks about the mission. That's how you rationalize. This time, the mission is the man. I think that's what Mike says. Great, and they're like, he better be worth it. This is when you better cure some disease or invent some long-lasting
light bulb
or something. And then, right, truth is, I wouldn't trade 10 Ryans for one Vecchio or Carpazzo.
So he still doesn't see the bigger picture, really. Still, for the mission,
right? So then it shows the men are talking about it, and then this is foreshadowing to Wade talking about his,
I get it. Let me kind of talk about this one, because honestly, this I've done this too, where he's talking about how it's like his mother worked, and she used to work late, and she would come home and she would want to talk to him, but he pretended he was sleeping. He's like, I don't know why I did that, but like, how many of you have done that? I've done that.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's somewhat normal.
I could see that, but it's sad because he has tears in his eyes, and then
right.
you see later
there's regret, obviously, but like you
Right.
know, and he's not home, and they're obviously
Well, right.
far away, and
I may never see my mother again. So he's copying the letters, Carpasso's letters, because the last ones had blood on them. So then Miller comes over, tells him, all to go to sleep. He starts talking to Upham, quotes Emerson, and Miller
Upham
knows
was
about
like,
it.
oh, he's like, Emerson?
He's like, where are you from, sir? Yeah. What's the pool up to? 300. We'll split it when it gets to 500. The guy's like, well, what about 1,000? He's like, we got to live that long? Like,
and make it
it's nice
500.
little scene.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
Then make it
You
500.
just see them bonding. Yeah.
I loved the next scene when they're done when they were done the church. He's telling them to go to bed, whatever, take their sleep. That next scene when there was lightning and they're all marching in the dark. That was a great.
Oh yeah, that's
second
great.
scene.
Just a great shot. It was like, and it was a quick shot before they go to they're going through the forest and they come up to the next camp, right?
Yeah.
With the pilots telling him he crashed
Which I called Mikey tonight and I said, whoever that pilot was, I forget the name of the actor. He was awesome in that scene.
Yeah. He's like very shaken.
It's a guy that, like, I couldn't tell you his name. I wouldn't probably
7.
recognize his name. But that guy's been in a bunch of different things. Like, I've seen him in so many things.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's telling, right, he said, men, just keep showing up here. And then, Wade tells him that Ryban to smell the leg.
Yeah.
That leg's gone.
Salt the cheese.
Swiss cheese, he says. Oh, south of cheese, right. Yeah,
Salt the
that's right.
cheese, yeah.
Yeah. And then Mellish is doing the Juden showing, which it's enjoyable the first time you watch, but when you know what happens to him, it's
not so enjoyable.
No. So, right, the pilot tells him they're transporting a general in his Jeep. It's too heavy.
Yeah, in his Jeep.
Crash, 22 men dead. Is like all that for one man.
What they didn't tell him was they friggin' they put a bunch of steel underneath where the general was going to be, which was like flying a freight train. He said.
Yeah,
so he's like, I had no chance. No chance. No one told me. Yeah, all for one guy. 22 guys dead.
And they all do the FUBAR. Yeah.
FUBAR.
That's pretty awesome. I can't find FUBAR on the German dictionary. He says.
I learned FUBAR from Tango and Cash.
Of course.
The old
like most of them.
The old Kurt Russell Stallone movie.
Oh my
Right,
God.
Right.
Mikey, stop. Just stop.
That's what I'm saying. Man. That's where I heard it.
So then they're going through the dog tags and they're having fun.
Too much fun.
They're all laughing, right? And you see Wade looks over, he sees the guy from the 101st.
Yeah, well, I'm just staring at him.
Even Miller doesn't even notice, right?
Yeah. He's actually laughing at them.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's like, Ryan's, he's not here. And then he starts yelling for Ryan. This is how they find him. He's like, anyone knows Ryan? Somebody, yeah, this guy used to pal around with him. The guy lost his hearing.
You know Private Ryan?
You're gonna have to speak up.
You're gonna have to speak up, sir. My hearing is not so good.
German grenade
comes and goes. The German grenade went up right by my head.
Got it. You know Private Ryan?
Who?
Private Ryan, James Ryan?
Jimmy Ryan?
James Francis Ryan.
No. James Francis Ryan.
All right, give me a pencil. Something to write on. Quick, come on, a pencil. Write this down. James Francis Ryan, Iowa, Do you know him? Does he know him? Read the message, look.
Yeah, of course I know him, sir.
Does he know where he is?
Yeah, we missed our drop zone by about 20 miles. Ended up way over by Bumville or some damn place. Him, me, and a couple other guys were coming here to the rally point. Ran into a colonel who was gathering up men to go to, Ramel. To babysit a bridge. That's the last I seen of him, sir.
Great. Thank you. Read, and thank you.
You're welcome.
That actor, Ryan Hurst.
Yes.
Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy. He's Opie, the guy with the long hair.
That's Opie?
That's Opie.
Bates Motel.
Bates Motel.
Oh, I did not know
Walking Dead.
Who
Terrible
was he?
Walking Dead.
He was in the later seasons. He's like this guy who wore a skin over his face.
Yeah, let's just bypass. The
But
Walking
he's
Dead.
another. I'm saying really like the actor, and it's funny seeing him really young here.
Right. So he tells him, write it down. He's like, some colonel is looking for volunteers to protect the bridge, Ramel, which is not. This is fictional. With this Ramel Bridge.
Oh, it is.
It's fictional, right? Obviously the big picture they had to, they did have to guard bridges until the troops got.
So I guess pick one that there isn't already a story for.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Right.
Like,
I guess,
so that, yeah,
that
makes.
Couldn't fictionalize it so much. So. Yep, Ramel, they look at map. He's explained it. This is great when he's like, okay, we finally know where Ryan is, and he's showing them all. And like you pointed out, Dave, when his hand is shaking and you see each guy.
Every one of the guys is looking at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he notices that they're looking at him and he puts it away. But I was actually talking with Mikey about this today too. And then obviously you like, they must be seeing this guy who's led them through so many battles now showing some cracks, obviously.
Yeah, he's right. He's
and there's genuine worry. There's genuine worry on their behalf of him.
Right. They're like, is he nervous? Right. They're just all looking. Right.
That's
so then
great.
Yeah, it really was. They come across a field when you see the machine gun nest. I saw someone that had a problem with this, plot wise, that they wouldn't stop and do this. They wouldn't, that one German nest wouldn't be there like that. So they all want to go around it and avoid the nest. And Captain Miller doesn't want to leave. Doesn't want them to be able to ambush the next group of Americans that comes by. Ryben says, I don't feel good about this one. He gets all pissed. When was the last time you felt good about anything?
Yeah.
I love it. He's like, I'll Mellish is right. I'll go up the middle. Who's left? He's pissed because they're not like all on board. Right. Finally, Jackson's like, I'll go on the left. And Mike wants to take the middle.
Maybe I should go up the middle, sir.
The way you run, I don't think so.
Maybe I should go left, sir.
Maybe you should shut up.
He's like, maybe you should shut up. Right.
Yes.
So this is cool how they do this because they don't really show what happens, right?
Yeah.
So I just love when you watch Upham watching those guys running with the camera view, like how it's like.
Well, that's what I said. He's behind the cow. He's watching with his little scope. So it shows like his point of view in this part because he doesn't really see it, right?
Yeah, and they're getting shot at. They're running full on at these freaking people shooting at them. So in his mind, he's like, "Welcome
to grab the gear," right?
Yeah.
And then he comes up and Wade's hit. This is my hardest scene to watch.
So Chris and I have debated the two scenes that are very hard to watch. I will concede, Chris, that this is the sadder of the two scenes.
It's the saddest scene in the movie.
The saddest scene in the movie. The other scene later on is the most.
Wade is the moral
unwatchable scene.
compass. Wade only wants to help people, and his acting is the best in this, right?
Phenomenal. The fact that he's like tells them to put his legs up and he's walking them through everything.
Yeah, and Upham's great in this. He's like, tell us what to do, tell us how to help. He has them roll him over. They're telling him where the shots are, and then one's bleeding more, and he feels it. So this is when he realizes, oh my God, it's my liver.
More sulfur, Mellish. Listen to my voice. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right, Doc. Be all right.
Wait, you're fine. You're going on a hospital.
More sulfur.
Put my legs up.
More sulfur. You're gonna be okay, Wade.
Put my legs
You're gonna be all right.
I got him. I got him.
You're gonna be okay, Wade.
I got him.
Upham, give me your canteen.
Pressure on him.
Come on. Get you out of here.
Pressure on him.
You're gonna be okay.
How's it look?
Some morphine. It's okay, man. It's all right.
How's it look?
You're gonna be okay.
It's gonna be okay.
Now I'll give you some. Here comes the morphine. Here comes the morphine.
I'm shot in the spine.
You okay?
I'm shot in the spine.
Lift him up. All right, easy. Come on. Easy. Put some pressure. Easy. Lift him up.
Okay, it's okay, Doc. It's all right. Wait, I got an exit wound.
It's in the small of your back.
How big's the hole in it?
About the size of an acorn. It's fine. Okay, put it on. Put it down.
Some pressure on it. Put some pressure on it. Some pressure on it. Put some more pressure on it. Pressure on it. Is there anything bleeding worse than the other?
Yeah, right here, right here. You know what it is? Right here, yeah, right here. I'm gonna put your hand on it. I'm gonna put your hand on it.
We got some pressure on it.
Right there. That's good. Okay? That's the one.
Oh my God, my liver!
Oh, that was the worst.
Well, this is when he knows he's, it's fatal.
Well, they asked him what he wants to do. What he wants to do is like, I'd like more morphine.
And then he
Basically
goes,
saying,
use more morphine, and they show the close up on Miller's face. He's like,
I could use a little more morphine.
oh, it's rough. And then Mike, he looks at Mike, give it to him. And Mike knows what he's saying. And then he's right. You see them all of them are devastated. Mellish is like distraught. The close up on their faces. Upham is like crying, right?
Yeah.
This is
the fact that he's saying he wants his mother, and he wants to go home.
Not saying that. It's
oh my God. If you don't cry in this movie, you're a psychopath.
This is the exact like what what Miller said in a previous at the church, where you lose someone, but you justify it by how many people you saved. That's this in action because
we got before they got there,
well, then
died.
Right.
So then you see Miller, right? He realizes he has to give up, but that was toughest for him too, right? You see him go to that little right away from them, and he breaks down crying for like a few minutes.
Yeah.
Just brutal. Hanks is unbelievable.
Hanks took the letter, right?
Hanks took the letter. Hanks took the letter. Obviously, he doesn't want anybody to see him. He looks behind him. He's like, composes himself, right? Then you see Upham with the German smoking.
And Upham is showing that he's got he still has his morals as well.
Right, of course. So they make the guy dig the graves, right?
Yeah.
For the paratroopers and for Miller. I mean,
and for himself.
For Wade and himself. That's what they right. So he's like sorry. He said he's sorry about Wade. It wasn't him.
Yeah, that's what you think. Come on.
No! Yeah. Fine, but I felt it. Please. I like America. Fancy schmancy. What a sense. Go fly a kite. Get back your tongue. Cool beans.
Betty Boop. What a dish. Betty Grable. Nice scams. I say, can you see? I say, can you see? I say.
Fuck Hitler. Fuck Hitler. Es tut mir leid um den Mann, den ihr verloren habt. Den Sanitäter, es ist halt Krieg, nicht?
I love America.
Yeah, fuck Hitler.
Steamboat Willie.
Yep. And then he's begging, obviously, and then finally put the blindfold on him, walk, just keep walking, and he wants him to surrender. And Ryman's right, obviously. He's just they're gonna put him back into circulation.
Tell him to march 1,000 paces in that direction. Then he can take off the blindfold. We'll be gone, and he turns himself into the first Allied patrol he comes across.
And this is a great scene, Chris. That you actually were trying to settle a fight between me and Mikey the other night, and I actually completely missed it.
Yes, you did.
I don't know how I did that.
So, yeah, back and forth they're going. Mike is pissed at Ryburn because he says he's out of there, right? Pulls a gun on him, yelling at each other. You were a coward, son of a bitch. And then
What's the pool on me up to?
You are a coward, son of a bitch!
I'm waiting, son.
Son!
I'm
What's
waiting.
the pool on me up to right now? What's it up to? Wait, what is it? $300? Is that it? 300? I'm a school teacher. I teach English composition. This little town called Abley, Pennsylvania. The last 11 years, I've been at Thomas Alva Edison High School. I was a coach of the baseball team in the springtime. Back home, and I tell people what I do for a living. They think, well, nah, that figures. But over here, it's a big mystery. So I guess I've changed some. Sometimes I wonder if I've changed so much, my wife is even going to recognize me whenever it is I get back to her. And how I'll ever be able to tell her about days like today. Ryan, I don't know anything about Ryan. I don't care. Man means nothing to me. It's just a name. But if, if going to Ramel and finding him so he can go home, if that earns me the right to get back to my wife, well, then that's my mission. You want to leave? You want to go off and fight the war? All right. All right, I won't stop you. I'll even put in the paperwork. I just know that every man I kill, the farther away from home I feel.
But they all stop. Like he's Santa Claus bringing gifts.
he suddenly says, I'm a school teacher.
intently.
Yeah,
High school. High school. I'm a school teacher. Talks about his wife, Rose Garrett.
Teaches English composition.
And then he's like, yep. And if you want to go, he goes, Ryan, I don't know anything about him. But finding him's the way to get back to my wife. And that's my mission.
Right.
Well, he basically says every man he kills, he feels
Father
less and
away.
less himself.
Yeah, it's a great line. Every
And
man I kill.
I think that's where everyone that's a veteran. We're all three of us here, vaginas. We've never been veterans. We never served. But I can imagine if you have to go overseas and have to take someone else's life, it changes you forever.
Yeah.
So
No, it's one of the lines of the movie. Every man I kill, I feel.
It is.
See, I was wondering if he means every man he killed or every man he got killed.
Every man he kills, he feels further and further away from home. Like he's gonna ever
Doesn't
like
feel
go
like
back.
himself. Right.
Yeah.
So he takes Wade's body to the grave. So
Nina, like Robin's just like, all right, I'm gonna go back. I'm going with them. I can't leave them. So they all follow suit, it's such a great scene.
yeah, it's awesome. So then you see they're walking across the field. They see a half track. They're hiding. This scene's like one of the color is back in. I guess so. Spielberg shot like the opening scene, and he took color out of it. I don't know how they do that, but to make it just seem so raw,
Desaturated it, yeah.
raw, as they say in Rhode Island. And so yeah, this scene they're like out in the, there's a lot of color in it, and they're hiding, and then they see the thing blow up, right?
Who shot that? Who shoot? Like they basically say who shot that.
Right. Then you see, they shoot the guys that come out of it, and 3 guys pop up, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool how they show them. They each introduce themselves. The camera pans across Ryan, and then they show them, they show all his men like smiling. James Ryan, how'd you know? So
I did like that it was really subtle. It was like, I'm Ryan. Like, there wasn't like a close up with dramatic moment of him walking into frame.
It wouldn't be dramatic.
Right.
It's just that, hey, this is who I am.
He's just there.
Mm-hmm. So they go back to Ramel and tell them they don't, Ryan doesn't know exactly.
James Francis Ryan of Iowa.
Yes, sir. Peyton, Iowa. That's correct. What is this about?
Your brothers were killed in combat.
Which ones?
All of them.
On the level?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. You might want to take some time with this. If there's some place you want to go. And
Goes over and talks to him. Your brothers were killed in combat. Which one? All of them. They show Ryan's. This is where you see Ryan's buddies. These are like his brothers.
What's this all about? Ryan lost his brothers. Which one? All of them.
And they said the same things. Like the one guy's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
Ryan's brother's dead. Which one? All of them.
Yeah.
They just look at each other like, "What the
You
fuck?"
see the two guys, right? So they're like his brothers, and they're like, and he goes, "We're here to take you home."
And this is where you get. This is where the debate starts with me with Ryan.
Debate.
Right?
This is Ryan. Ryan's like, well, right. So he's like, "I'm not leaving. What should I tell your mother? Tell her I was here with the only brothers I have left." Right. These are his brothers.
So I mean, at this point, I feel like, okay, he's a man of his, honor. He's there for his guys, and it is what it is. So you just have to respect the guy a little bit here.
A little bit. You just respect him a lot until he's crying in a fetal position. But this is great. That this is his mission. He's not going to leave these guys. And then, so Miller's talking to Mike. This is when he's like, "I feel like we've overstepped. This is like weird," because he knows Ryan's right. He knows they have to protect this bridge, and he knows, Ryan doesn't want to leave his brothers, his brother in arms. So
this is the scene with Mike and Captain Miller. This is a great scene. This is a fantastic scene.
Right. I'm sorry, but I forgot Ryben said this is the little, "Hey asshole."
Yeah.
Two of them, right? And Ryan asked their names, right?
Which was
that was awesome.
Yeah,
which was cool. Yeah.
And he's like, "What should we do here, Mike?" And he's like, "You don't want to know,
And then Tom comes back. "No, I do want to know. I mean, this is where he's looking for advice too. I mean, he's the captain, but he wants advice on this. And I think this exchange between the two of them is so fantastic.
Well, part of me thinks the kid's right. What's he done to deserve this? He wants to stay here, fine. Let's leave him and go home.
yeah,
But another part of me thinks, what if by some miracle we stay and actually make it out of here? Someday we might look back on this and decide that saving Private Ryan was the one decent thing we were able to pull out of this whole god-awful shitty mess.
Because this is where Mike's like, "Listen, I think this is the way we get home, and this is the right way we get home."
He says, right. Mike says, "What if we stay and actually save this bridge?"
Yep.
And prevent this attack and save the war. It's like,
And
what
it's
if we
basically and it
What
earns
if we
them
look-
the right. He uses the word earns them the right to go home.
Right. He says, what if we look back and say, what if saving Ryan is the only good thing we did in all this
Saving
shit?
Private Ryan.
Saving Ryan's Privates is a different movie. So then they talk about their plan, right? He wants to lead one of the tanks, the Panzer, or is it a Tiger? I don't know. There's
Panzers and Tigers in this attack.
right. And they want to lead the tank down to the middle of the street, disable it, and create a bottleneck, and then flank them. And they aren't sure how many men are coming, right? Then he tells them about how we gonna disable the tank. Tells them about the sticky bomb.
Well, yeah,
So-
he references the field manuals, which they're like, we're fresh out of those field manuals. So
Yeah.
it just shows you how intelligent he actually is, though.
Yeah,
He
it's funny.
remembers it all.
Tells them about the sticky bomb. Says they need a rabbit, which is Ryben. Get the explosives from the bridge because they have so many to make the sticky bombs. And Ryan's never 2 feet away from me. That's non-negotiable. He's gonna put Jackson up in the tower. So they have, it's pretty cool.
Nous nous aimions bien tendrement.
Then, so Miller's trying to get the coffee, as you referenced, Dave. And it's pretty cool. You hear Edith Piaf music, which I added on Spotify after this. This is, they're all bonding with Upham and stuff. Upham's telling what she's singing about. Pretty cool. They're laughing, and Ryben tells the story about the lady with the huge cans.
Yes. Neighbor.
And then Miller and Ryan are talking. Says, I can't see my brother's face. Think of something, you got to put it in context. Ryan's like, what's that? And I never liked this story, about him telling about
Hungry girl.
Yeah. Because Ryan looks just kind of goofy, but it's just like,
but
he's a young real
guy. He's so young.
Right, exactly. He's so young, and it is like Miller's like kind of laughing. He tells her the story, and then the reality hits Ryan. He's like, that was the last time we were ever together. It was the last night. And then he's like, tell me about your wife and those rose bushes. And he's like, I like it. He's like, no, that one's for me. Like, don't tell. Then they hear the tanks. Jackson does this sign language, gives them the amount of men, what they have for tanks. And the rabbit goes out.
To go down.
Yeah, Ryben goes out on the little, whatever that is, the little half track, smaller than half track. Explosives, that guy in the house with explosives is all nervous. It's just awesome how each of these things is, the detail that Spielberg took in the scene is just great. All the weapons and everything. So you see, right? They're all.
Well, I think we kind of skipped over Milish and Upham and how he's talking about how important his position was. Like, you got to get
him right now. He's telling him you have to. Yep, that's right.
You're Johnny in the spot. You're Johnny in the spot with the ammunition, and he's like, yeah, got it.
He kind of likes him now. I think he's like, you gotta. He puts all the bandoliers around his neck.
Yeah.
And they're like, looks like they didn't take the bait right away, but that's the infantry that's moving around, and then one of the tanks you see comes down with some of the infantry, and this
is before, now 90% of even these things would be CGI.
Right.
Like the 90, I mean, CGI is there. I mean, Spielberg helped innovate it.
Right. But it's amazing
right.
how they shot it. Right. You see, so they blow up the charge, the guy in the house. Jackson starts shooting. One guy who does the sticky bomb too long.
Oh,
brutal.
A little too late.
Blows up, right? So
that would have been me.
Yeah.
Where do I stick it? Oops.
So, well, how nervous the next guys must have been when they put on the sticky bomb, right? Because he's like, light it, yells at the guy. It's going back and forth. Upham's bringing Mellish and the other guy ammo for, I guess they have a 30mm gun.
Upham's just running in the middle of bullet fire this whole time.
It's crazy. It's this scene is actually my favorite scene. It's just amazing.
Right.
And they throw Molotov cocktails onto the half track. They burn those guys. Miller's always with Ryan.
You see some dummies where their heads, like you can see the heads pop off the bodies and everything.
Yeah. Well, when they show, this is so the tank is Miller and Ryan are running with Ryben's with them. I don't know where Mike is during all this. I think I was wondering where they had him positioned, because I tried to picture everything, because you don't see Mike until he comes out with a bazooka. But the tank points towards Ryan, and Ryben comes over and drags him and gets on top of him. Miller's like, Ryan, are you okay? Ryben's like, yeah, I'm okay too, Captain. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Great. And then after Miller shoots into the tank, right?
Yep.
And he calls those guys over to drop grenades in and stuff, right? They shoot the one guy, they open the thing. But this is rough. This is when the
20 millimeter gun comes over.
Yep, the 20 millimeter gun comes over and just decimates these guys.
Dude,
right?
the guy's head fucking flew off his
That's where it's
shoulders.
like boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
It just imagine the damage, right? It makes you like, holy shit. And they keep
Captain
moving, Miller and Ryan.
Yeah. I think he moved Ryman to flank the 20 millimeter, right?
Yes. Well, he say eventually we gotta do something about those guns.
Yeah.
And you still have Jackson shooting the guys, shooting. Oh, this is when it goes up back and forth a couple times, and then you see Jackson up in the tower with the other guy with the 30 millimeter, and you see Jackson doing, quoting the Bible again, shooting each guy.
My goodness, my fortress, my high tower, and my deliverer. My shield.
He's a great character.
Is
You
that
see
when
the
the tank?
My question, the only question I have on that is, why is Jackson up there that long? He knows the tank is coming there. He knows that the gun is pointed basically at him.
He knows he's gonna die. He's just.
So why is he just running down the tower?
He's got a job to do.
He's right. He had a job to do.
He's
He didn't
basically
know.
shooting, taking as many guys out as he can, knowing his time is up.
I get that, but he could have saved himself and continued to fight somewhere else.
I don't know. I don't know if he could have.
I just want him to. I don't want him to die.
I know. I didn't either. But
Well,
and then you see,
well, the tank blows that fucking thing up, and you see Miller looking up there like that's another one of the guys is gone.
yeah, it hits Miller when he says that. But it's awesome. He's like, "Get out!" I forget the guy's name. Yells for him to get out, and then you see Miller looking up. Miller's shooting. He's like, "We got to do something about those tanks." Then you see Mellish and the other guy. I think the other guy's in charge. Throwing the grenades. They kept throwing the grenades out of the hole in the wall.
Forgot to mention they
for-
shared gum.
Yes. Yelling for Upham, who's sitting stunned and afraid.
Yeah.
And right, this is when he runs. He runs because he's gonna go up there, and then he hides, and then you see the tank coming down, and you see all those guys just running, and so he's like frozen. He's got so much ammo too. So Mellish and Henderson, that's his name. They hear a noise. They're waiting for, more of the 30 millimeter ammo, and they hear a noise, and this is when.
At least it's up.
Up him.
And Henderson shoots through the wall, and you see blood, and Mellish is a little nervous that it's Upham.
Yeah.
He's standing there, not knowing. He's like, Upham? And then suddenly you hear a couple shots right through the wall, and Henderson gets shot through the neck.
I think the shots came came from outside, actually.
They did.
Not through the wall.
Oh, that's what I meant. They came through
that big hole in the wall.
the other wall, not that wall. Not straight ahead. Yes, from the left.
And then the guy runs in, and then that's where the fucking mayhem ensues.
This is David's favorite scene.
It's not my favorite scene, so I don't want to talk about it right now. To be honest with you. I even got the translation.
David,
to
take it
myself.
away. You take it. You lead.
I can't.
It's awful. So, well, they cut to Ryman finally shooting guys on the 20 millimeter guns, and then you see Mike shoots the bazooka, and then they go back to the scene. Mellish, it's just brutal. So Henderson's dying there, right? I don't know what the guy was yelling something at Henderson, and then
Mellish had him for a little bit too, and then it just the tides turned.
Mellish held his own. I mean, imagine just fighting like that hand to hand for a few minutes, and then the German, then Mellish takes out the knife, and then
that was the knife he got earlier in the movie.
Yes,
I didn't make that connection.
Yes,
and then the German says to him,
I got the translation too, but don't read it. It's terrible.
Frau, du hast keine Chance. Lass es uns beenden. Lass ab. Lass mich. Stop. Es ist einfacher für dich. Viel einfacher. Du wirst sehen, es ist gleich vorbei.
Well, he just says he did. I mean, he's not. He just says you don't stand a chance. Let's end this here. It'll be easier. It'll be over quickly. Listen to me. And it's rough seeing him, Mellish, say, stop. No.
It's slow.
He's like, wait. And then he fucking does it. It's like, and he does it so slowly.
That's what, it wasn't violent. It wasn't.
It's
it was
like
just
face to face, like looking like the most personal way to kill someone, you fucker.
Yeah.
That's when I just lost control. I'm like, fucking up and you fucking pussy.
I
And
know.
you're sitting right there. Just go up there and fucking shoot him.
It's terrible. Well, my thing is, Mellish, Upham didn't even need to shoot him. Goes up there and hits him with his gun or something.
Yeah.
Mellish almost took him on his own.
Yes.
You know?
Fucking
So,
A.
all right.
Hey, so
I
I mean, I don't even know if like I'm sorry. I don't know if Upham can redeem himself at the end of this movie either.
I
I'm
know.
sorry. I don't think he can.
I'm with you. As much as he's almost likable if he didn't piss himself. And then they cut to Mike, and Mike has that little thing where he shoots the guy with neither
They
the
threw helmets at each other first.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And then he's like, son of a bitch. He's like, yeah, it's awesome. Then throws his helmet. They each throw their helmets. Throws his gun. Then you see Upham crying, and then the guy walks by him.
Walks right by him.
Puts his arms up, continues crying. Ugh. So you see another tank coming. This is when the commander's giving orders. They look like they're about to get overrun, right? They're out of ammo. So Ryan tells Miller how to use, I don't know, are these like the shells that he goes without the tubes? Is that for the bazooka? So they throw about 5 or 6 of those, right?
Yeah, and pretty brutal too. You see a lot of carnage in those.
Mhm.
Those were effective.
Then finally they're like, we got to go to the Alamo, as Miller called it.
So let me ask a question. Why didn't they not blow the bridge beforehand?
Well, the Americans could have wanted it open
for themselves
strategically first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they could hold it till the Americans got there, it would have been better.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
blowing it's the last.
But
resort.
blowing it up was the last resort. Blowing it up just to prevent the Germans from going over the bridge. So Miller's going to use the bazooka. Mike says, "No, I got it. You go." He's like, "Come right behind. Fall back." And
This is great scene.
Yeah. And then Upham's on the ground
Well, Mike grabbed Upton and ran.
already. Yeah, I mentioned that. He grabbed them and he ran. They're right. They're almost at the Alamo. So Ryan and Miller are under heavy fire, make it past the bridge. They're at the Alamo.
Yeah.
And Miller gets shot in the hand, or he gets, when he has the charge.
Yeah.
It's for some reason I was like, oh, he'd have that scar when he was an old guy if he made it to be an old guy, right? So Mike's carrying the bazooka, gets hit, right? You see that? It's just great how they shot that. Falls into Ryman's arm, makes it across. He gets shot in the chest. Are you all right, Mike? Yeah, just got the wind knocked out of me.
You can see that he's still protecting Captain Miller. That's what he's doing. He's still protecting him by not having him worry about his mortality.
Real quick, I didn't even mention he was collecting the sand after the Mellish.
Yeah.
And he had sand from.
That he had
shows
sand
how
from
much-
Africa, Italy, right? And you wonder, like, well, they must have. Imagine if one of the guys was able to retrieve that, send it to his family or something.
Yeah.
So Mike says just got the wind knocked out of me, right? It's great. Then you see the Panzer or a Tiger. I don't know which kind. Which
Is that the one where it comes right over them?
No.
That shot.
That was before.
Okay.
Yeah, that already happened a little, right?
That was so cool.
So then they shoot into the building that's the Alamo, and they do the sound amazing again, right? Miller gets knocked down. You have like no sound. You see Ryman shooting with bullets flying all around him, and this is when you see Ryan curled up in a fetal position for some reason, screaming.
Yeah,
Mike Mike is dead.
This is where the debate comes in. Was he? I mean, he was likable in the beginning, then he just turned into a raging puss.
Yeah, it seemed out of left field. I mean, you never know when you got to go
You
into
lose it. Yeah, listen, people can lose it. I get it. I'm not a man. I've never fought in a war.
Like I
Right.
said, they're the greatest generation.
It seemed out of place to me too.
We're the greatest disappointments.
So yes,
We might be in the fetal position as soon as the war started.
He's yelling, yeah. So he's yelling, Mike. You see Mike died, right? Sound comes back in. You see all the German soldiers. Mike's Upham sees the guy that he let go.
Oh.
Steamboat Willie, I guess is it. Just like Ryman said. Miller gets up. And so Ryman's like, Captain, where are you going? And this is the way they shoot this. You see Steamboat Willie shooting guys. It's a pretty good shot. And it's like so matter of factly because it's not even a close up.
Yeah.
You just see him shoot Miller.
Yeah.
Move on to the next guy.
And Upham sees it and just like, fuck, I was fighting with this guy to live, and now he just thinks I'm the captain.
Mm-hmm. And then you see Miller, great shot, leaning against like the motorcycle shooting.
That's one of the kind of iconic shots of Hanks or in movies with that, just kind of like his neck, he can't really move.
Mm-hmm. His hands flaying as he's shooting.
Yep.
Right?
It's
All
just
the
like
strength he
Jaws.
has.
Just like Jaws, because he shoots it and it blows up.
Okay, you can make fun of this, but I love the fact that last shot when the fucking thing blows, he just like looks up like in amazement, like, did I just do that?
Well, what do you mean? Why would we make fun of that? It was great.
And then when the fucking plane comes right over his head, like that was such a great scene.
That was awesome. Yeah, he's like confused. He looks up and then he sees it. Then Ryman runs over. He sees how bad he is. They start. They drop some bombs. Upham gets up. This is when he sees a bunch of, somehow he disarms like 5 guys. Right? Why do they all? Well, I guess because the American troops are there. So shoots. I love how they don't show him shoot Steamboat Willie even. He looks.
They don't
so
even show
confident.
him. He's just
First time he ever fired his first time he ever discharged his weapon since basic training. That's what I thought of. So tells the other guys to beat it. American troops are all there. Ryman, Ed Burns almost tries to act because he's not the best actor in the world. Tries to muster up some emotion. He's broken up. Ryan gets up looking at him. Comes over to Miller and he says, the tank busters, sir.
They're tank busters, sir. P-51s.
Angels on our shoulders.
This is struggling to say something. The great Captain Miller.
The earn it, just earn it. I love that.
James.
I love that.
This is James. Earn this.
Yeah.
Earn it.
Earn this. Earn it.
And he dies, and you see his hand still.
Finally stop shaking.
Mikey, pause this for 5 minutes so I can weep gently into my sleeve.
Yeah.
It's great. And then you hear the voiceover, dear Mrs. Ryan, the letter Mrs. Ryan gets.
And there's no reference to anyone that saved her son. That's what I got out of that letter.
Well, it said he did do his job. You know what I mean? Like he did do his job, but right. You never know if. But Ryman gets the letters from Miller, right? Gets Carpazzo's letter, honoring the dead once more, and then but you hear the letter from Marshall, and he quotes Abraham Lincoln's letter. It says, "I pray our Heavenly Father, can assuage your anguish." And then you see the close up on Ryan, and you see, the end.
Turns old.
He's talking to the headstone. I think about what you said to me on the bridge.
My family is with me today. They wanted to come with me. To be
honest with you, I wasn't sure how I'd feel coming back here. Every day, I think about what you said to me that day on the bridge. I've tried to live my life the best I could. I hope that was enough. I hope that at least in your eyes, I've earned what all of you have done for me.
James? Captain John H. Miller.
Tell me I've led a good life.
What?
Tell me I'm a good man.
You are.
Tell me I give a
And the
good
cross.
life that I'm a good man. She says, you are. In this part, jeez.
She said, "You are," except for that part with the fetal position. You didn't have to tell us.
But she just walks away from
And your
him, like,
grandkids are like, they're behind him, like disgusted.
You're like, grandpa.
Was it true you weren't helping anyone?
Should have left that part out, grandpa. But when he salutes him, oh my God.
That was, yes, I was waterworks there.
What happened?
When he
saluted
salutes him,
Oh yeah, yes.
and it shows all the crosses. Oof.
yeah, it's just great. Greatest generation.
Then
And
it
they
cuts-
probably didn't tell his family about it because they were a great, they had no idea what the story. Hopefully,
Did you really
left
tell
out.
Miller about that ugly girl again?
It
That
was the
wasn't
greatest generation.
That's
It
grandma.
was. It was the greatest generation. However,
What?
this is debatable.
You're talking about? What are you talking about? Revolutionary War?
No, this is debatable. So I'm gonna throw this out there.
Uh-oh.
Right?
David, the Nazis
No,
were
no,
bad.
no. Greatest generation, but part of that generation still couldn't eat in the same restaurants other white people could eat at.
Well, of course. I mean,
So that's where I'm
Greg,
like,
what kind of podcast are we doing here?
Sometimes
You're
I
telling me
get a little
racism
bit-
is bad?
No, I'm just telling you. I think it's a great generation.
So he's taking a
However-
bold stance on this.
However, they
Jeez.
could have been a little bit
Right.
greater, maybe.
Yes.
So next time you see him,
I agree with that. Yes.
next time you see a World War II vet, you make sure to tell him that.
I mean, that was yes.
I will tell him. You should let someone eat with you, fucker.
He would be like, "What? What are
So
you talking about?"
they didn't have that type of segregation in Italy.
Yeah.
19.
Oh, they didn't.
They sure have.
No, they were all part of the Axis.
Yeah.
So great movie.
Great movie.
Fantastic.
Tough to watch.
This
Fantastic.
is, yeah, it's really hard to call it a great movie when honestly it was just a bloodbath.
It was just a masterpiece of
It's
Great
so
movie. It's not rough to watch. So
technical,
good. Yeah, so good.
visual.
I
marvel.
think
I
of
love
all the movies we watched, I think this is the one that I don't want to call it enjoyable, but it's the one that you feel the most brotherhood with. Like you feel like
Affected by-
you're with these guys.
because it's
Yeah.
real, because it's
Yeah.
people that are, our grandfathers, like generation.
this, yeah, that and Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, obviously.
So excellent. Put a bow on it.
Any final words on Saving Private Ryan?
I'm
I'll
all
miss-
cried out.
I'll miss them all. I'm gonna miss that whole group.
I'm gonna
On to the
watch
next
it
movie.
again.
Right.
On to the
You
next
bet.
movie.
He was born and raised in privilege.
Let's talk about the next movie.
On to the next movie. We're going to lighten it up a bit, but in November, it is, Thanksgiving's right around the corner. So we thought, why not, Chris? Why don't you tell us what's up next?
The Great Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We
I don't think
may
we're-
cry at the end of this too.
I did try to do this one, but however, guys, you guys mock me all the time about not watching these like new movies, but yet we all decide together we're watching
True.
these old movies.
I can't wait to see this movie for the second time.
What?
What? You don't watch it every year?
Listen, folks,
Right.
you can find us on Twitter at
Mikey only, just so you know, Chris, Mikey only watched Saving Private Ryan once before yesterday or today.
Well, I have a good memory. I saw it and I saw it again. I can tell
Wait,
you everything.
Before you wrap this up, Mike,
No.
the one weekly feature
Oh,
that
that's
we
right. You wanted a new feature. Yes.
Yep. So I'm gonna pick a movie every week post 2000, and we're gonna both bet whether Dave has seen it.
We're gonna guess
So
if
you
Dave's seen
mentioned
it.
the movie Memento.
Yes, which I would like to do in the future.
Memento is something. So I say Dave has not seen it.
I say no chance he's seen it. I say he's going to say, what is it?
I thought it was a candy. I thought it was a candy when you guys were talking about it.
Okay. So ding sound effect. This is gonna be too
point
easy.
for both of us.
Too easy for the listeners.
Oh god.
So Memento.
Yes, Dave. Look it up. Look it up.
Not
Oh,
moment.
Not yeah. I can't spell.
No.
It's
Okay.
Memento.
Guys, I like when you guys
Nicely
make me
done.
watch new movies. It's fun.
It's exciting. So yeah, next time, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles within a couple weeks.
Great John
so-
Candy.
The great John Candy, the great
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
Don't start talking about parts of the movie.
Yes, right. You haven't watched it, 6 times yet, and texted and called and texted and texted and called about it. As I was saying before, you can find us on Twitter at fine_movies. You can find us on Instagram at Fine Movies, Fine Spirits, and of course, this podcast is available everywhere podcasts can be found. But if you use Apple Podcasts, why don't you shoot us a review? Specifically a 5-star review. And I think that's it. I think we nailed it. So yeah, we're all done. So hey, say goodbye, David.
Fuck off.
Happy Veterans Day,
Salute.
everybody.
We talk about great movies while drinking. We talk about great movies while drinking. Yeah, we talk about great movies while drinking. And we feel fine.
Can I just call it this? I want to read that promo real quick, if you don't mind. Before they get to that friggin'
You want to read what?
I'm gonna read this real because I thought this was friggin' awesome, actually. So when you know how Meryl was it Meryl? Marish was singing that little song. Listen to
Yes.
this. I think this is ridiculous. In my solitude, you haunt me with the reveries of days gone by. In my solitude, you taunt me with memories that never die. In my solitude, I'm praying, dear Lord above, send me back my love. I sit in my chair. I'm filled with despair because no one could be sad with gloom everywhere. I sit and I stare. And I know that I'll soon go mad. In my solitude, I'm praying, dear Lord above, send me back my love. That's an amazing poem at that
It really
junction
is.
movie because it's
Yeah.
basically showing that these guys have nothing left. There's just gloom everywhere. There are people around them who are dying. Their closest friends are dying. And what's it for? I thought that was awesome. And I couldn't hear the words in the first 3 times I watched it. And I started picking up on them. Like I had to read it. And and I just amazing. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, that was
Awesome.
very fitting.
So first of all, Mike, you got to edit this real quick. That poem was later on. So kind of put that later on.
You fucking asshole.